So according to two sources, a Bitcoin ETF is nearly certain to win approval later this year. We'll talk about why they believe that, the good and the bad of that, and what this means for the future of cryptocurrency. So we're going to be spending most of this video talking about some insider information about an ETF. And again, I just want to also talk about people potentially being pessimistic on it. Once an ETF is approved, it'll open the gates for a lot of other things, and that's what we'll talk about in the video as well. Otherwise, without this next step into cryptocurrency, we would probably expect the market caps of these coins and everything to really not increase as much as we would want, not get adopted as much as we would want. Specifically, it would not happen nearly as fast. But I do just want to look at the overall global market cap for the day. So right around 280 again. But you can see Bitcoin gaining percentage in the last 24 hours continues. Bitcoin dominance almost at 47%, which is the highest it's been in over 3 months. You can see we do have some coins up in the double digits in terms of gains here. But what we want to keep an eye on is Bitcoin continuing to gain dominance, continuing to do well. If we just look at the market dominance very quickly here, you can see Bitcoin dominance at an all-time high in the last 3 months. And the last time that Bitcoin dominance was at 47% or higher was all the way back in December of 2017. So to me, this is an incredibly bullish sign. Bitcoin is starting to get back on track. We're going to hope that this uptrend continues, that Bitcoin can lead the market. And then eventually it'll probably be another altcoin cycle as usual. But yeah, I want to spend the rest of the video talking about this news here, this news article regarding the ETF and what it will mean for the future of cryptocurrency. So the talk of institutional investors and ETFs and everything in the crypto space has never been higher. Every single day there's more news about it, there's more optimism, more news articles, and so I want to spend a lot of time delving into that. But before we do today, I just wanted to look at Bitcoin's chart here. Again, we're still moving up. 77.52 currently at the time of me making this video. Seem to have broken out of this tight consolidation pattern that we were in for a few days. Kind of right above it, so it's not definite that we're going to continue to rise here in the short term, but it's looking very good. So before we kind of look at this article really quick, I want to talk about why people are so excited about an ETF, what potential downsides there could be, the changing space around cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, and also why this could be extremely good besides the fact that prices are going to rise, most likely. So if you jump back to 2017, the beginning of 2017, or really any year before that, Bitcoin was really seen as a very insecure, potentially even what Brad Sherman was calling it at the hearing about a week ago. Some people were convinced that Bitcoin was only used by criminals back then. It was not necessarily safe. That's not to say that it was dangerous, but there were a lot more concerns surrounding it. It was not as legitimate as it is today in 2018. So I know a lot of people have a lot of mixed opinions about the Bitcoin futures beginning in 2017. The end of the year in December. But one of the things that came out of that was good was providing proof and legitimacy for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, getting rid of a lot of fear surrounding Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, specifically for institutions, specifically for the individuals that are going to make this space much higher valued than it currently is. What that did was legitimize it and knock away a lot of pessimism, a lot of fear around cryptocurrencies. In the future, I have no doubt that there will probably be more regulations than there are now on ICOs, potentially some other regulations regarding cryptocurrencies. But at the same time, what this is doing is kind of opening the door for cryptocurrency and Bitcoin to not be feared, to be utilized, to be adopted by businesses that we interact with every single day. And as this article is quoted as saying, the regulatory agencies are fully aware that once this door is cracked open, it will create a flood of submissions, approvals, new products in every color and denomination connected to cryptocurrency. The push for regulation will provide architecture for fair and equitable markets to surround the newly regulated asset class. So really the futures that occurred at the end of 2017 most likely did bring the price of Bitcoin up significantly to reach that $20,000 point. But again, it was probably also responsible for some of what we've seen the past 7 months in this long correction or downtrend that we've all been a part of. So I just want to kind of jump into this article a little bit. It was published on zerohedge.com. The title here is that the Bitcoin ETF is nearly certain to an approval later this year. So it starts off saying here, working back channels at the SEC and CFTC in particular, the author here has come across two sources that they said seem to be nearly certain the crypto ETF conversation is about to take a seriously bullish turn. This shouldn't come as too much of a surprise, as a lot of people have been talking about this for a while, including myself, and you can see why it could end up being very bullish for cryptocurrency. It says here the background for the optimism is tempered with some specific downside, coming crypto and ICO regulations. So ICO regulations are particularly probably the biggest downside of this, although I don't necessarily think that is much of a downside. I do think ICOs need to be regulated. I much prefer coins like Bitcoin and Litecoin to any of these potential speculative products that ICOs might offer. It says here as well, both sources said the nearly certain approval of a Bitcoin ETF and other crypto ETF products will be announced alongside the first set of crypto regulations of substance from both the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, and the CFTC. So they have one of their sources here, the more optimistic of the two apparently, from the CFTC saying, I would call it 90% at this point that an ETF will be approved. The crypto markets have moderated and regulators have watched the lack of drama surrounding the Bitcoin futures across several global exchanges. The price moderation and adoption of a peer product is what the conversations have centered around. So I like this part here. They kind of mention one of their concerns for an ETF and why it's no longer really a concern. It says in January we were justifiably concerned about a bubble and the harm of quickly approved product and that it could attract speculators and create losses that lead to significant lawsuits. However, they're quoted as saying here, now those factors seem to be mitigated significantly. Basically, they were talking about the bubble, a much needed correction or reversal because of how drastic the increase was, and you can see just looking at this chart very quickly of the past 7 months, you can see they don't really have that concern now, or at least we would hope. So they have a second source here. According to this article, the former SEC employee who left the regulator 2 weeks ago said this, I would expect a positive outcome in September, most likely not August, or if it gets strung out a little further, it is simply a few dotted I's and crossed T's that are being finalized on a larger regulatory language in the crypto space. I also like that here he's saying, to be clear, most of the regulation will be focused on ICOs and issues that pose for retail investors of the moment. Mainly focusing on ICO regulation, which again won't really affect people holding Litecoin or Bitcoin, a lot of those other trusted cryptocurrencies. And again, here it kind of talks about the runway that the Bitcoin futures led to and have potentially set up an ETF to succeed here in 2018, as well as going into 2019. It says here as well, the regulatory agencies are fully aware that once this door is cracked open, it will create a flood of submissions, approvals, new products in every color, shade, and denomination connected to crypto. So really, this is really the beginning of opening Pandora's box, so to say. This could lead to so much new stuff in terms of ETFs and other proposed market options related to cryptocurrency. And again, this could drive the price of cryptocurrency to levels that we've never seen before. I've been talking about the possibility of 2017's bull run looking like nothing in compared to what the future will bring for crypto. And I see no better way for this to actually become reality than this happening. I know a lot of people are concerned about regulation and governments getting involved in crypto, but crypto exists for a reason, and it's decentralized for a reason, and it has the features that it does for a reason. And in that respect, I think it's important to potentially trust in the technology of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency to prevent a lot of the fears that people are concerned about. But whether we like it or not as well, I mean, this is kind of inevitable. Cryptocurrency has been here to stay for a while, and institutions and governments around the world are finally actually fully accepting that. The good news is you're still very early in the game if you're watching this video, or if you're watching cryptocurrency videos, or if you're investing in cryptocurrency even today. You're still very early into the game. And again, I think it's no coincidence that we're hearing so much institutional investing talk recently. We're hearing Goldman Sachs, we're hearing about BlackRock, we're hearing about so many different leaders in terms of finance in the world coming out and talking about crypto. There's a reason for that. It's only going to get bigger from here out. If you're invested now in cryptocurrency, I definitely think you're ahead of 99% of people in the world, and you're really setting yourself up for success financially, as well as learning about this technology beforehand, before it becomes mainstream. And yeah, it's just really exciting stuff. Again, I don't want to say, even though this article says that, I don't want to say 100% the ETF is going to be approved. But in my opinion, it's only a matter of time, even if it wouldn't be approved in the next few months. And cryptocurrency is here to stay, in my opinion. And people investing now are going to benefit. As hard as it is to kind of go through the last 7 months, who knows if there's still more downside. A week from now, Bitcoin could be at $6,000 again. I don't necessarily believe that at all. I think actually the opposite. But at the same time, in the short term, it kind of is irrelevant. In the long term, I think we all know that cryptocurrency is going to the moon. It's going places.